Morning, folks. This morning shaving cream is from Gillette. It's called Pure. You may or may not have seen it. It's available at Walmart. Interesting, I went into one Walmart, found it, and another one, it wasn't even on the shelf, not even a can form. This one here, it says it's free from sulfates, parabens, dyes, alcohol, and as it goes for the scent, it's even on the back, but I can pick it up even with my nose. It has menthol in it as well as peppermint oil. Yes, so it's already scent-wise, it's already approved by my nose. Go ahead and go with the Allen Block. No rubber band this morning. Got Humphrey's Witch Hazel, that's citrus scented. And going to follow up with, of course, might as well, a Gillette Cool Wave aftershave. And I got it whipped over here. Whipped up here in my favorite bowl. One of my favorites, I should say. This one here I found at a thrift store. Paid a whole $1 for it. 99 cents a dollar. It's inexpensive. Been looking for another one, how can you say, designed like this? So far have not been that lucky to find another one. But this is what it looks like on the inside. Whipped up here with a Frank shaving brush. Whipped up pretty good. Smells great. I like the scent on it. I had mentioned this before. Should say I already put a hot towel to the face and get ready to put the Preshave soap to the face. SoCal Shave, Manny, he had already done a video on this, and I at that point in time I had just seen it in the store and was thinking about getting it, and I saw his video and decided to go ahead and get one. Now I have 2 tubes of it because the scent on this is really nice. At least it works well for my nose. My nose is a part-time worker. It only works part of the time, and sometimes it's only for an hour or 2 out of the day. And menthol, peppermint, eucalyptus, scents like that, my nose can pick up pretty easy. And there's other times where it doesn't pick up much of anything at all. And it's just kind of nice to be able to smell something from time to time. But I thought I would also do this shave, and I've got some more that I'm going to be working towards in the next few videos. Is for some folks prefer to find, how can you say, stuff readily available in the store. And where I live, finding stuff in the store is not an easy chore. That goes to tomorrow's video. But this was one of the things I was able to find here in our store in the way of a shaving cream. It runs, I think, at Walmart for like $5.97, I think it is. Typically, so far, what I've seen of it is when I do find it, there's usually not very many tubes on the shelf, and I think it's because, not because of, how you say, lack of product, but the fact that folks are buying it. And I think this, 0%, the pure, that sort of thing is appealing to some folks. And peppermint, I don't think is a bad scent. Menthol, nice cooling effect, especially for, here where I'm at in Oklahoma, we're heading towards summer and it's getting warmer out, and this sort of scent is a nice one to have. And you can whip it up with your hands, or as you can tell with the brush, it does fine with the brush. You can't complain. I mean, as it goes for something you get off the shelf that's not really expensive, nice scent, and lathers up just fine. When I started with this one, I started with a damp brush as opposed to a wet brush, and just slowly added in the water to get to where I'd like for it to be at. So that's something to keep in mind. Shaver of the day. I haven't shaved with this one in a while, and this is one of my, in other words, another one of my favorite shavers. It's an PAA Injectomatic. It comes pretty much looking like this. The variants I've seen of it usually is the color right here on this band. And I have seen one where the handle is a different color. I believe it's a dark green, but I have not been able to find one of those for sale for me to get just yet. But anyway, it also has a Personna blade in it. But for me, I get pretty good shaves with this shaver. It is an injector that you can usually find in pretty decent shape. If I remember right, these came out in the 50s, I think it is. So yeah, even though yeah they're still 50-ish years old, good number of them you can find in pretty good shape. Probably has something to do also with what the material they were made out of over time. In other words, learning from other folks how they made their shavers and decide how to improve from there. I am glad that things are going well with this shaver because this morning, because this first time I had and it's kind of more or less, I guess you might say, symptomatic of an injector, is that from time to time you'll get a blade that doesn't want to load right. And this one here was giving me fits. I was able to get it in without damaging the blade. But that was the first time I ever had any issues out of this particular shaver doing that. So I don't know if it was actually the how it was being loaded at the time. Certain number of things you need to pay attention to when you're loading your blade in here. After you do it a few times, you'll probably see where the problems do arise. One of the common ones is that the blade doesn't want to go in straight. Which if you're loading it in pretty slow, you know, kind of ease it in there, you can see when it's starting to go crooked. You can straighten it back up and everything will be alright. This one here it got to a point where it started to go in and it just didn't want to go any further for some reason. But we are talking about a shaver, like I said, is 50-ish, 60, somewhere in there years old, so and no telling how many times they've been used before I got a hold of it. You can kind of tell the shaving cream is staying on there pretty good. Slickness so far, from what I'm feeling, it's adequate, I'll put it that way. In other words, yeah, there's better out there that's got more slickness, but as it goes where can you get a decent shave with it, oh yeah. And especially nice to be able to walk in the store and find it. I guess you might say I'm leaning more towards the thing that kind of bugs a guy, especially a guy like me from time to time, that it's nice just to be able to go in the store, put your hands on an item, and buy it. I don't mind ordering stuff online. Been ordering stuff online for quite some time now, and especially around certain times of the year where the stores are awfully darn busy, and I prefer to avoid the the long lines and the crowds and whatnot. And as you go to the store, then what you're looking for, of course, isn't there. You look online, say it's in stock, you buy it, you're good to go, and you didn't have to fight the crowds. But it's just nice to be able to walk in and put your hands on something when you get ready to buy it. There's that part, in other words, that I miss from time to time. Besides the fact that when you can find a product that's like a tester, for instance, where you can actually smell what you're buying. So if you're wondering with this one here, it was safety sealed, so you'd have to find one where somebody's already taken the safety seal off. But yeah, this is pretty nice. I like it, and I can feel the cooling sensation on my face. Been able to catch a few videos, not very many, but I did happen to choose one. I don't typically watch hot towel shaves from a barber. But I decided to watch this one that I saw. I did watch it. Quite surprised. I was shocked, because usually the ones I see, their methods on how they do their shaves I know it doesn't work well for me because I've tried them. It doesn't, how you say, just the way I guess you might say I made up my face and the whiskers and whatnot. But this particular barber, using a shavette, the strokes that he was using was similar to mine. Not quite as long as mine, about half as long, but wasn't real short, choppy, or what somebody might refer to as a buffing motion. And I guess you might say it put a smile on my face, because I know the two of us never seen each other or anything of the sort. And this guy was more or less shaving just like I do. I thought that was pretty cool. And which kind of led me, I watched Trevor's video again, at least part of it, showing the blade exposure on the Dark Stag. And I went to look at the website again. And the more I get to thinking about it, I think I'd be doing myself how can you say, a disservice not getting one. It does take DE blades and Camisori style, and that really does appeal to me. It's one of those things I figured I'm going to get it and end up wanting to use it all the time because I'm really going to like it. Watched the video, Kit's video, and he set up some for folks that are just starting out. And one of the videos that I watched was about the preparation before the shave. Now for some folks, I understand, I didn't need to do a whole lot of prep before the shave. And it just depends on, you make up your skin, your whiskers, so on and so forth. And for me, a little bit of a prep, helps. And my hot towel is nothing more than the hot tap water, washcloth, get it good and warmed up, at least, fairly warm. Put up to my face to about 60 seconds. So 60 counts what I use. And that's what I use. And it seemed to make a world of difference on my shaves. Before, when I didn't do that, and now that I do, there was a big difference on how the shave went. And that was for me. And I think maybe what did the trick, the reason why it works well for me, is the fact that it hydrates my whiskers, making it easier to cut, and a certain amount of preparation of the face, warming it up, hydrating it perhaps. But it just works well for me. And he was talking about your pre-shave routine and what he does that works well for him. And sometimes I do wonder that I shouldn't do a series on the how-to series, if you will. And it's just what I would do. It's my normal routine, which may or may not work for others. One of the things he mentioned is coconut oil. And matter of fact, in between him and Tim, that's where I got started with the coconut oil. It's inexpensive. Well, I say it is depending on what size and what kind you're looking for. For me, I got mine on sale. It was on sale at Walmart. It's, I think, right at $5 for, I can't remember how big that can, it's sitting over here. They've got this big old container full of coconut oil. And it's really easy to use. The one I got is not in liquid form. You can get some that's liquid form. This one here, it's solid right now. From what I understand when I was reading, is that coconut oil will stay solid until it gets above like 74 degrees, I think it is. Then it'll turn liquid. So in other words, even though you buy it as a solid, when you first scoop it up, put it in your hand, work it into your face, because your body temperature being much more than 74 degrees, it'll turn liquid and you can work it right into your face as a pre-shave. And I've also found is tinkering with it one day, not only using it for a pre-shave, but as well as even as a post-shave, especially if your skin is really dry, just taking a little bit of that coconut oil and working it into your skin. And that coconut oil, at least the one I got, doesn't have that typical, how you say, coconut scent that you would expect to have. At least not per my nose. And usually I can smell coconut. I can usually pick that up. And my nose isn't picking up any on this oil, which is, you know, depending on how you look at it. To me it's a plus because that way it's not interfering with anything else you got going on in the way scents. Now I will say, when it comes to shaving creams in this price range, it will be pretty tough to find much that's going to be a whole lot better than this, unless you find some Personna that's on sale that's right around that dollar amount. I think, at least in my circles, when I usually look for it, when the Personna tubes, usually I usually see them priced right around the $10 mark if I'm not mistaken. And this is $6 that you walk in the store and put your hands on. So there is that, how you see that difference, the difference in between paying for the shipping versus your local taxes. And for me, typically my my local taxes are going to be cheaper than the shipping. That's the reason why, I guess you might say, from time to time you may hear me mention about when you do order something online. I usually try to order it in bulk. That's the reason why, one of the reasons why I miss out on some things that are in limited supply, because I'm not ready to buy anything in bulk from where that's located at, and of course, you know, it run out of stock, and then there I am without it. But that's not that big of an issue for me, in that there's a lot of products out there to be choosing from, and in other words, it's not the end of the world. It's just something you'd like to have, but it's not a necessity. This one here, though, it took me a while to get started on an alum block. I was working with just witch hazel and witch hazel alone. Then at one point in time I worked my way into just trying the alum block by itself. And the alum block by itself does not work well for me, in that I feel like my face feels dried out once it's done. Even after rinsing it off, it just feels like my face is dried off. But using the alum block along with the witch hazel, I guess you might say the witch hazel helps balance out the effects of the alum block. In other words, my face don't feel so dry. Do have a little bit of stinging this morning. Didn't see any weepers or nicks or cuts, but I got a little bit of stinging. Nothing bad though. Going with the witch hazel here. Just little things that run around in my mind. Leading into tomorrow's shave. Here locally, all the CVS like Walmart's, you walk in one store, it'll have something. Go into another store and it may not have it. And for me, it's kind of disappointing that it has to be like that. Tony's wanting in, our German Shepherd. So in other words, you may have to look in more than one place. And for me, one of the places, one CVS I went into had these on sale for $2.95, I think it was. And so I bought a few. And some CVS's will have more Clubman products than what some other CVS will, for some reason or another. Who knows why. But at any rate, so goes along those lines of what can you find in your local stores where you're at. You just walk in, put your hands on and shave with. And around here, there's not much. And sometimes that's hit miss. Cremo cream, sometimes you can find it in plentiful supply. Wait a month or two, you'd be lucky to see any on the shelf, it seems like. I don't know what if it's a supply-demand thing going on. It's hard to know. Because you know the stores, they only have a certain amount of space to put their product on there. So you can imagine the battle they're having, moving things around, trying to keep things in stock for their customers. So can't imagine what kind of tough game that is. At any rate, had a great shave. This is really not bad stuff. I know a lot of times Gillette gets a knock on various things, but this one here is pretty decent. In other words, I got 2 tubes, so that should tell you something. The scent, I like the scent. That is really great. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.